Since the Notte Stellata show would take place tomorrow, Hanyu Yuzuru practiced at the venue. He showed up a little after 10:30 a.m., bowed deeply and touched the ice and walked to the rink. He also put the covers on his head. Yuzuru landed a triple Ritberger, followed by 4 quadruple jumps. Yuzuru ran through his routine with the music on, checking spins, steps and choreography, as well as making adjustments regarding lighting and show staging. Yuzuru said that he had worked hard again in training and hoped that he would be able to put all of his feelings into skating at the same time as showing a good performance. He will skate in front of an audience for the first time on March 11, so he hopes to deliver something that will allow people to see at least a little bit of hope. Bandis will be broadcasting a YouTube program titled 12 Years Since the Great East Japan Earthquake, Connecting to the Future, Lives to Protect. Yuzuru also talked about his thoughts on March 11 for this broadcast. The organizers of the broadcast hope that foreign viewers will watch the broadcast as well. In the video, Yuzuru said that the words that usually come out of his mouth are based on the image of the disaster he experienced, based on the feelings he experienced during the disaster. But even so, Yuzuru still wants to see things with his own eyes, listen to different things, and do his own research. And he wants to send all kinds of messages based on what he has heard. An hour after this show starts, the Notte Stellata show kicks off. Excerpts from an interview Kohei Uchimura gave before the Notte Stellata show. Kohei Uchimura's Brechnider and Yuzuru Hanyu's quadruple axel, both athletes have an element that has challenged them. Kohei reads that the parabolic line of Yuzuru's jump is very beautiful. Forming from takeoff to landing, the line is very well balanced. Yuzuru has a beautiful gradual rise of the line and then also a gradual fall. It's a great distance to cover. Sometimes it's hard to explain, Kohei said, why something is beautiful, and it's the feeling that something is beautiful that's important. It's not necessary, according to Uchimura, to understand something in gymnastics in order to feel beauty. If one could explain it concretely, then beauty would cease to be beauty. For example, when the relaxedness in the movement changes to impetuousness, to booming energy, or the part where Yuzuru is soaring through the air is beautiful. Kohei believes that Yuzuru is particularly picky about things like this. Even if he skates like the other skaters around him, there has to be ingenuity in his skating. Yuzuru, like Kohei himself, has achieved the ideal billions of times. After each such achievement, an ideal higher than the previous one appeared. Repeating this process over and over again is a constant work in progress. Kohei believes it is necessary to think about the inadequacy of what has been achieved even when others think the result is good. Kohei also said he recently skated for the first time and thought then how cold it was. He thinks now is a good opportunity to skate. He was curious to see how it would go. Kohei was able to skate for about 5 minutes and decided he might be quite good at it. Right now, Kohei tries to work out for about 2 hours a day, keeping in shape. But the show is not over, the show goes on. Yuzuru Hanyu comes out and asks the audience to thank the musicians and dancers, 11 play, and gift special band leader Satoshi Takebe asks the audience to thank Yuzuru Hanyu in turn. The musicians then play a new song gift written by Satoshi Takebe especially for the occasion. Afterwards, Yuzuru Hanyu performs Haru Yokoi, Come, Spring. The musicians then play Seimei, and Yuzuru Hanyu comes out at the end, before the choreographic sequence. Before he comes out, a video is shown on the screen with glimpses of the show's preparation scenes. In the future, we would like to see a documentary, or at least more behind the scenes. In the finale, Yuzuru Hanyu thanks the audience and the people who worked on the show, and says that it was very difficult to prepare the show. At the end he shouts his traditional arigato gozaimashita. This is the kind of show you have to watch in its entirety to get the full effect of the story experience. I watched it as a kind of movie reflection about inner feelings, struggles and difficulties, about finding yourself and your way, which is probably familiar to all of us. The show gift reminds of a fairy tale to a certain extent by its imagery, especially if you remember the conversations of the character with the moon, the wind, the dream, between the light side and the dark side, and thanks to this imagery each person can perceive this story in his or her own way. Question: would you call it a journey through your soul? Answer: well, how to say? It's not really my soul, but rather my personality. Think about the mask you use when you're in society. I think that even when I talk like this, I'm showing the Yuzuru Hanyu I want to show. But I guess even now, even as I'm talking, the real Yuzuru Hanyu is smoldering in my heart. It's probably not just for me, but for all of you. That's why I hope that during this time of the show, you were able to see mine and your true personalities, that I was able to help you see them. The total number of people who worked on the show in one way or another is over 500, judging by the credits, people. The show looks expensive and labor-intensive, beautifully performed live sound, mesmerizing lighting effects, an elaborate, interestingly worded and nicely voiced story, dancers, and stylish videos. The Tokyo Dome is a very expensive venue, and by the way, the ice rink has never been poured there before. Rumor has it that due to the nature of the stadium in Tokyo Dome there can be problems with sound, but at the show, according to audience feedback, there were none. The team in charge of sound did a good job. This show was produced and directed by Yuzuru Hanyu in collaboration with Mikiko. She also worked with him on the prologue show. Yuzuru Hanyu did the organization, created and voiced the story, filmed for the videos, staged 2 new numbers, or rather 3, if you consider the one recorded at the rink, and also trained hard. During the show, he skated, in whole or in part, 12 programs, jumped quads, triplets and triplets. A separate question: how do skaters manage to change, lace up and unlace up their skates, and all that in 3 to 6 minutes, about the time it took from left the current number to came to the next number? By the end of the show Yuzuru Hanyu was tired, he was reeling in some of the elements, but he skated with gusto and spirit. I do not know what he was breathing at the end, so that in the final he even rushed to do some elements. I could hear in his voice that he was either moved, or could not catch his breath, or both. Will we ever see such a great show? Who knows?